Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 just changed everything we knew about the franchise and ourselves. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the video. My name is Rob, aka RobNF on all platforms, and today we're going to be delving into Chapter 5 of Poppy Playtime and how I believe I've solved the ending. Now, I know I'm probably going to be wrong. Nobody ever gets these right, but I'm going to try my best. So, at the very end of the game, we have the train wreck, and shortly thereafter, the prototype crawls out of his train and stabs us in the chest. As you guys know, the stab was like right here, right below the pecs, and unfortunately, there's a lot of organs right there. So how in the world did we later get up and survive? Well, we have to back up a little bit. Let's start with the most confusing part first, the survival. We lose consciousness, then see the prototype dump us in a thing of red gel. Now, we probably need to talk about what this red gel is, because it might be a little bit more interesting than you think it is. When I first saw it, as someone who's a kind of an amateur to the game and don't really know a lot of the deep lore, I just thought it was red goo. I thought he was trying to drown us, but the lore says the opposite. If you look at the Bigger Buddies Initiative clinical notes, it describes the red gel as a cellular scaffolding agent. Wow, try to say that 5 times fast. I definitely can't. It's the lifeblood of the factory. It's designed to knit muscle and bone together in experiments. If a human were dumped in there, they'd likely suffer from chemical burns, but somehow we didn't. We woke up. And that leads us to the first big lore fact. Our body accepted the gel. Now, I know being Rob, aka Robify, was to, say, hey guys, subscribe on all platforms and jump into the gel. Your boy would be gone. But somehow we didn't get hurt. In fact, we're still okay. I believe we were being repaired by the prototype. He was performing emergency surgery on us after almost killing us. Seems like he needs to reorder his priorities. But anyway, why save us? Well, this brings us to the smoking gun of the situation. So there's a VHS tape in the game that discusses the succession of souls. It details a successful transfer of human consciousness into a vessel that could still pass as a human. The log states it was their most stable creation because it didn't realize it was a monster. They used memory implantation, a technique where they gave the experiment a fake human life to keep it from going insane. Sound familiar? Our entire backstory, the ex-employee returning to the factory, isn't a memory. It's a file uploaded to our brain. You should also think about the physics of the game. We survive falls that should shatter our legs. We use a grab pack that exerts enough force to pull a ton of weight, something that would rip a human's arms out of their sockets. If you're a little confused on what I'm saying, imagine you're on a mountain, and there's a big boulder in the way. If you have a little pack attached to your hand that's almost like a jetpack, and you bring out that hand to bring the boulder towards you, your head would go smash into that rock. You would not be able to pull that, and if you are, you're a liar. Sorry. But anyway, we have the strength of a Huggy Wuggy, the durability of Kissy Missy. We have these traits. We are not human. But we probably need to talk about who's behind it all. The computer monitor with the digital eye, I'm sure you guys have picked up on the fact that that's obviously Harley Sawyer, the man behind most of the brutal experiments. He didn't die during the hour of joy. He did what the prototype couldn't. He transcended the physical being into being digital. It's almost like it's almost like Five Nights at Freddy's, where he haunts this entire place, except digitally. By seeing the eye on that monitor, we realize the factory isn't just a building anymore. It's basically a big Harley Sawyer body that we're going inside of. Hey, Callie, did you write the script?
Yes, but please subscribe.
Okay, sorry. So here's the interesting part. If we are somewhat digitalized, almost like a little bit of a cyborg, well, we have to be restarted mentally. We also have to be made sure that we're being kept well physically, because a robot needs to have its AI to work properly, and it needs to have its physical strength, or else it sucks. And you turn into Wall-E. The prototype might have saved our physical body, but Sawyer might have reactivated our programming, keeping us from dying. Now, there is something that's a little questionable. We see a lot of red when we do get stabbed. Why is that? I don't know. Bye, guys. I'm just kidding. I had the answer. Well, I need to make something clear. By calling us as who we play as, the cyborg, I don't mean that we just look like a robot. In fact, we don't really know what we look like. I don't mean that we're some Terminator made of cold chrome and metal. I think we just need to look into the BBI files. Bigger Bodies Initiative files. I'm never gonna call it that again. Well, for starters, every single toy in the factory, from Huggy Wuggy to Catnap, is built using a human base. They have real lungs, real hearts, and most importantly, real circulatory systems. When you see these things get stabbed, you see blood. When you see Huggy Wuggy fall, you see blood on the stuff. They are human. They're just made of cotton and fluff and weird fibers. The blood that you see from Huggy Wuggy is not just for shock value. Their stuffing is integrated with living tissue. They are alive. Unlike Five Nights at Freddy's. That's the big confusing thing, is some people think that Five Nights at Freddy's and this is like a copy of the game. Well, in FNAF, it's these passed away children that possess these animatronics, but they're all dead. In Poppy Playtime, these things are very much alive. They're just in a different form now. As Experiment 1002 though, we would be the most human looking of them all. We have a skeletal structure composed of steel and carbon fiber to handle the grab pack, but we also have human blood. Alright, so let's talk real fast about who's confirmed dead, who's confirmed missing, and who's confirmed alive, because I'm sure that's why a lot of you guys clicked on the video. So for who's confirmed dead, Mommy Longlegs. Still dead since chapter 2, but her hand remains the most important piece of the prototype's physical body. Aside from the player and potentially some hidden survivors in the lower levels, the human staff of Playtime Co. is 100% confirmed deceased following the Hour of Joy, as well as, unfortunately, the orphans as confirmed earlier in the game in chapter 5. For unknown, Kissy Missy and Huggy Wuggy are in a similar situation. They both got stabbed, but if I had to say which one I believe is alive, I'd say Huggy Wuggy. You still see some forms of life while Kissy Missy's getting stabbed, but you don't really see much out of her. I believe they might still make an appearance because they're the main characters of the game, they're very popular, and they've survived much bigger problems than being stabbed, but Kissy Missy was in a much worse spot. They were both in pretty bad shape, but I just don't see Kissy Missy coming back. I do believe Huggy Wuggy's gonna help us next episode though, if he is alive. Poppy is still alive, Prototype is still alive, obviously we're still alive, Giblet is alive, and Harley Sawyer is back. So let's talk about the very ending of the game. Chapter 5 wasn't to be continued, it was a mask-off moment. We finally know why the toys fear us, and why the prototype respects us, and why we can survive the impossible. We are the broken thing. We are the bridge between the humans who started this nightmare and the monsters who ended it. If you've been following the lore since chapter 1, all the pieces finally fit. The letters, the tapes, the red smoke, it was all leading to the realization that we never truly left the factory. We never worked here. We were built here. But what do you think? Is Harley Sawyer gonna be the final boss, or is there someone even higher up the chain? And most importantly, if we aren't human, can we still save Poppy? Does she even deserve to be saved? Let me know your theories in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for the full chapter 6 breakdown coming soon if you guys want it. And yeah, when the next teaser drops for the game, I'm your boy to look out for. Leave a subscription and comment, all of you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.